Bielsa, he's came out and he's kind of slammed the U.S. and the organizers of Copa America for everything that happened in that incident and all that. And it raises a bigger question on whether or not the U.S. is ready to host a World Cup, which could be. Look, first of all, I just want to go. Let's read Bielsa's comments actually. So, and to be fair, I give Bielsa huge credit for the fact that right away post game after the match, not having enough knowledge about what going on and not wanting to really understand everything and all that, he came out and he said a very calm, level-headed thing saying, I don't really know what happened, blah blah blah. What happened was unfortunate, but basically saying, I'm gonna gather the details. I want to know what, like, he didn't know exactly what happened, and it was a calm level head performance. But after taking a day, really examining what happened, and and really being able to, sit down and break down what he saw and all that, he came out with a very proper response, in my opinion, that was well deserved based on what we seen. So let's just talk about it. After the Copa America semifinal, which was played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is actually where the Carolina Panthers play. Some Uruguayan players were seen climbing into the stands with opposing fans. We saw Darwin Nunez up there throwing punches, Ronald Araujo there trying to split people, Jose Jimenez after the game saying, while getting interviewed, saying the players were just trying to defend their family. CONMEBOL has started investigating into what happened. It actually saw players from Colombia and Uruguay both involved, and it's interesting. It was very interesting sees, and so during in response to that, Bielsa said, one has to speak thinking about all the threats he will receive if he speaks. So the only thing I can tell you is that players reacted the same way any human being would. If you see what happened and there's no other process to escape and they are attacking their girlfriends, their mother, a baby, their wives, their mothers, what would you do? It was very angry in the way he said this, by the way. As he was, kind of attacking the media coverage of what happened. Are you asking if there's going to be sanctions to the ones that went to defend? It's a level of complicity because the questions also act as a way to accomplice. I don't know if all of you think the same way, if the questions you ask wouldn't be made by someone else, but this is what you journalists should be saying, not what I should be saying, with the risk of opening my mouth. When you see that there's an overreaction, when you see a violent action, of course, no one is going to be in favor of a violent reaction. But the first thing you have to see is what they are reacting to. And if there are any other ways to do it differently, and you all know this, but you want us on this side to open our mouth about it, so it's not you who point what happened and then are affected in any way. Bielsa also went on to say the players were owed apologies, and that he also said, we are in the United States, the country of security. The Uruguayan Football Association said came out with a statement saying there was a lack of security, saying an unjustified but humanly understandable reaction. And this event took place in a context in which the proportion of Uruguayan fans was very small. Most of them were families, and there were insufficient security measures in place. Given these facts, the players' behaviors was inevitable and natural, and they strongly did condemn their aggression, but said it was, not natural and all that. Marcelo Bielsa also criticized CONMEBOL in the U.S. over how this tournament has been organized, calling out the lack of security, the conditions of the fields at the stadiums, which was NFL stadiums, which we'll talk about later on. And it was it was a lot. And, he's not the first manager that can criticize the pitch. You should go back all the way to the opening of the tournament. It set the precedent. Lionel Scaloni saying they knew 7 months ago that we'd play here and they changed the fields 2 days ago. It's not an excuse, but this isn't a good field. Sincerely, the field is not appropriate for these players. Um, yeah, it's really unfortunate what this Copa America has been. After watching a brilliant European Championship, there's been massive reading for Colombo. But look, I want to be fair. Some of the problems is Colombo. Some of the problems is the U.S. Colombo issues. Number one, they assumed that the security understood the level of passion and rivalry amongst nations at Copa America and how wild these fans is. Because American security, they're expecting them to be like NFL fans, in which they get passionate, but it doesn't get aggressively passionate between fan bases and all that. And you don't separate. You don't have a 49er section in a Panther stadium or this or that. Fans do regularly, opposing fans sit together, and it does, maybe there's yelling and stuff, but generally it is peaceful, even with the drinks and all that. You can't have that amongst these sort of fans from Colombia, Uruguay. The passion is just too high. The aggression is just too high, and it will lead to massive outbreaks. You have to have sections in terms of the Colombian section and the Uruguayan section, and you have to have massive security between the fan bases, massive armed guards, all that, to make sure nothing happens. That's how they do it in South America. You have to have that here, but that's not America. That's not the U.S. That's not the security guards' fault or all that. That's Colombo's fault for not, for not being transparent in terms of how South American fans, or just soccer fans in general, even in Europe, properly behave. So Colombo has massive responsibility in that as well. And they have massive responsibility for a lot of the weaknesses in this tournament. The ridiculous camera angles that we got, especially in the USA Uruguay game with the rolled feet. A lot of weaknesses from Colombo. The thing that you can criticize the U.S. for is the field size issues. Playing in NFL stadiums, and look, it seemed like for FIFA, for the World Cup, and by the way, FIFA, they'll get the stadium issue. FIFA, they'll take care of it. FIFA will, they will not allow some of these issues that we've seen at this Copa America to happen at the World Cup. The issues that do concern me, though, regarding the World Cup, is these NFL stadiums being too small. Now, the pitches, it seems like the FIFA have that already discussed, and that they'll have like grass built in months before, and the field will not be a problem. That's, hopefully, that's what happened with FIFA, that FIFA fixed that. But what the FIFA cannot fix is these NFL stadiums being too small. The stadiums are not going to become bigger for this World Cup. You see the lack of spaces on corner kicks. You see the pitches generally. It's the most minimal size pitch that you could have for a game of this tournament. In fact, in my opinion, it's too small. For a caliber of this tournament, the pitches are too small. How are they gonna fix that issue before the World Cup? They can't make the stadium bigger. They can't expand the stadium and expand the field. The stands are just too close to the field. So in my opinion, that is a big issue, specifically in these NFL stadiums. Now, you're gonna have games in Canada and Mexico with soccer-specific stadiums, which that won't be an issue. But at the same time, it will be an issue because all the fields have to be relegated to the same size. If you're playing, let's say LA, which probably has one of the smallest pitches I've ever seen for a soccer game, because they have to condense it. And even on corner kicks, there's just no spaces because of how tight the stadium is. But let's say with LA was SoFi Stadium, right? You have that pitch. You cannot play a game in that size pitch, but make it, big, make it a normal size pitch at Azteca. All the pitches have to be the same to, for just to make it fair, just to make the just so that field size is not a factor from game to game, from stadium to stadium. All of them at the World Cup will have to be the same. And that's why you see this soccer-specific stadium in Orlando. Orlando, you could see on the outside a little bit, you could see of the natural lines. And you could see they had to condense the field and condense it by a lot because the fields in Orlando had to match the fields at SoFi or Arrowhead and all that. And that's a big issue. You cannot be playing a tournament at this level on smaller pitch. I really disagree with that. I really think that's not good, and it's really sad. And I don't know how FIFA is gonna fix the issue. Some of these other issues FIFA will be able to fix, like the stadium issue of fans not being divided. FIFA will relegate the tickets and seating and all that. FIFA will let the security guards have better security in there to relegate it. A lot of the issues that CONMEBOL had at this Copa America, FIFA will come in and they'll run it better. All the CONMEBOL issues will go away. But in terms of the stadium issue being small, I don't know how FIFA makes that go away. I don't know, because the stadiums are too small. Even when you're looking at it from a camera angle, when you're watching the game, from a camera angle, from a good camera angle, like most soccer games are, you can't see the near touchline because the stands are so close to the field. You can't even see their near side touchline. That's really not good. That's really from a TV you can't see the touchline, the near to the stands touchline. That's really not good at all. That's really bad. And I don't know how FIFA will fix that issue. I'm interested to see,